I'm not sure if you are aware of the story that I'm about to bring to you, but it seems that Lamestream media is at it once again involving Chris Brown. Now, I just recently did a video talking about Chris Brown, in which one of the videos I talked about was him acquiring his masters. And I said, yep, now they're going to really go after him now. Because soon as he got his masters, a couple days later, a story had broke involving indirectly him and a person in his camp, where it was saying that, or alleging that, this woman last year or maybe 2 years ago had got into a sexual, I guess you can say, incident with someone closely related to him. But that kind of fell on deaf ears because it was pretty much all a lie. Well, now this new story has emerged in which they are saying that Chris Brown, while in France, got into a sexual indecency with some 24-year-old woman over there. And I said, do people realize what's going on now? They've been fucking with Chris Brown going all the way back to Rihanna for over 10 years now, and they will not let it go. I said, a lot of people don't know that he just got his masters. That's usually what happens when a black person or a black artist gets their publishing deals and their publishing rights, and then all of a sudden all of this bullshit just starts to pile on them like out of nowhere. Just crazy talk. And you would think by now many people would have learned their lesson when it comes to how the media piles on with black men in particular in the entertainment industry, and how they love to spin things and add things on for shock value. But apparently some people have not yet learned. Let's take a little trip back to 2016 with Nate Parker. So Nate Parker decided, that he was going to release this film called Birth of a Nation. It got all this praise, a whole bunch of it, in fact. And, it was up, it got a lot of praise. Went to Sundance, won some awards there. They even said that this movie is definitely a heavy Oscar, or should I say award season, Golden Globes, Oscars, all the whole bit, contender. And then close to around when the movie came out, or was getting ready to be released, about 2 months before, around in August, these old stuff just started to come to the surface involving him and the person who worked on him with the movie, where it was saying that he had got involved with some chick at the college he went to, and said that him and the person, his friend, had raped her or something to that effect. He was taken to court. They found him not guilty. Mind you, he went to a predominantly white school in a mostly white area. He went before a white judge, a white jury, and all of that, and he was found not guilty. And then that comes back to the surface, and then his movie gets sabotaged. That was not a coincidence by any means whatsoever. But that's what people went with. And then, of course, you had other instances that have happened over the course of the years where stuff like that has happened. One thing Harvey has said, and it always sticks with me, he said if they want to take down a black man, they're going to get him on one or two things: sexual deviancy or murder. And probably, tax evasion, if you want to throw in there about Wesley Snipes, but that's rarity. They really hit Wesley hard with that tax evasion stuff. But what's so sad about this whole thing is that when I'm looking through the comment section when about this particular story involving Chris Brown, again, is I see, unfortunately, a lot of black women believing this story, even knowing the history in which the media has piled down on Chris Brown for years. Now, you had some in there that was not believing in whatnot, but a lot of them still believe Lamestream media to a T. And that's all done by design, because black women, can I be blunt with y'all for a minute? The reason why Lamestream media can really get to y'all like this is because they know y'all are very easy to manipulate. They know that what's a complete opposite of a black man, or a good functioning thinking black woman who really knows how to think for herself, is not easy to get us, because they know a lot of black women like gossip. This right here can be nothing more than just gossip, and they know you will eat it all up. They figure that is the role that you play when it comes to stuff such as this. And you also have to ask yourself this question as well, black women: why aren't there any major scandals like the ones Chris Brown and Nate Parker, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, and the list goes on? Why is there no big scandal like that facing a black woman? It's very rare that you will find a scandal like this that will ever face a black woman. The last time, I guess you can say, quote unquote, a black person or a person who the black community has pulled themselves to like over the years, because that's who they gravitated towards the most, was Mariah Carey. Now y'all probably saying, Torian, what do you mean when you say Mariah Carey? Well, if you were on my original channel a couple years ago, I did a story where Mariah Carey's former bodyguard had came out and said that he was sexually assaulted by her. But that all turned out to not be true, because it turns out that Mariah Carey had fired him, and he only did this as a form of trying to get revenge against her and probably get some money and a payout and all types of things. But it just kind of fell on deaf ears and it just faded away. I'm sure if you go onto Google or something like that and type that into the search, it might pop up. Who knows if the articles are still there, but I remember reporting on that back then. And then you also got to think of all the women, I'll give you two black women, for example, where they have fallen into a category where they were a part of a scandal, but they weren't the forefront of it, but it's because it was a part of them. Let's start with Lupita Nyong'o. Now, in the midst of the whole Me Too thing happening and, emerging, Harvey Weinstein was like the main person they went after. And a whole bunch of women came out and said that Harvey Weinstein did this, that, and the third to them, and they all got heard. But there was another voice in there somewhere. That voice belonged to Lupita Nyong'o. And you know what she said? Pretty much some of the similar things that the other women had said, but people didn't pay attention to her. Her voice got lost in the sauce, and you really didn't hear her say anything else about Harvey Weinstein ever again. Another person that you can add to that list is Aurora Perrineau. Now, myself and Harvey have talked about her, and she even came out and said that a man by the name of Murray Hill, who was attached to that show Girls involving Lena Dunham, had said that he had did some inappropriate things with her when she was underage, but it fell on deaf ears. And not only did it fall on deaf ears, but that Lena Dunham turned a complete blind eye to it and said that, well, 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 or whatever stat she gave, and it probably wasn't even true, said lie about rape. But this is the same woman that molested her own sister and wrote about it in her book. So you got to really, really pay attention to this here. Why hasn't any black woman been at the forefront of a particular scandal like this? I think one of the major reasons is because they need you to fall in a certain category, a certain line where you are the latch dog, you are the lap dog, the mouthpiece for them to come after us. Nicole from Nicole's View did a very excellent piece about the black feminist on her channel, where she had a live stream with 3 other black women, and they kind of talked about this a little bit. I would suggest that you head on over there if you get a chance to go and check that out. And if you can't find it, which it'll be hard for you to do because it's her most recent video, I will leave the link in the description, and I suggest that you listen to the entire thing. Now, my theory is the only way that they will ever go after a black woman who is up there is it has to be one who has clout.
I would suggest Rihanna, except in the industry she's considered tainted, so people would see it coming as well as other people from the outside looking in. So no, it would have to be someone who has a very clean image, and that person would definitely have to be
Beyonce. There would have to be a huge, or as they say, juicy enough scandal for them to want to go after her. Because Beyonce has pretty much remained in a squeaky clean image for quite some time. You don't really hear any scandals about her, and if it is, they're usually a bunch of rumors that don't go anywhere. But it's nothing on the level of, say, a Chris Brown, a Nate Parker, a Bill Cosby, or so on and so forth. But you really have to ask yourself this question. Why hasn't there ever been a big scandal to attach itself to a black female celebrity? It's a reason to that. You rarely ever hear that happen or ever see that happen. I can't remember the last time that actually did happen, to be quite honest. But I'm very sure that there is a reason as to why that is. Now, I'm not making this video saying that they need to go after a black female celebrity, because I wouldn't want them to do it. And be honest, if they did something like that, the same way I come forth, with Chris Brown and the rest of them, would be the same way I would come at it with them from this. There would have to be solid proof and evidence that there is, without a shadow of a doubt, that the person that they're accusing of doing these things is actually true. But see, the thing is, a lot of our women, unfortunately, a lot of black women will attach themselves to any scandal, even if it's not true, just to say that they muted somebody, or they got rid of somebody, or they canceled somebody, just to say that they did. But it's funny because you had women like Allison Mack, a white woman. Yeah, a white woman who had a sex ring, a sex cult. And not enough black women, in my opinion, are talking about her. It's not like they don't know. We live in the social media and digital age. Her info is out there. People know who Allison Mack is, or should know, especially if you watched Smallville. I mean, why not? She did things that even the ones that people are claiming to cancel and mute and all this stuff didn't do. I mean, she held them hostage. The same thing they said R. Kelly did. She had a sex cult, like things they said R. Kelly had. She branded her victims. I don't think R. Kelly did that. But they keep letting her skate on thin ice, and you rarely ever hear about her. And the reason why is she's a double protected person. She's white and she's a woman. She is going to most likely walk away from these charges, or she's going to get a very light slap on the wrist. But there's not enough pushback against it to really say, look, she needs to be dealt with accordingly. The guy that she's doing this with needs to be dealt with accordingly, and let that be that. But even then, that's probably gonna not go anywhere as well. Because I've read the documents involving her, and the shit is enough to make you want to vomit a few times over. Now, if you want to talk about someone who is sick and sadistic, look no further than Allison Mack. When Harvey was telling me about this chick, I said, whoa, this chick is off the chain, and not in a good way. But that's really all I wanted to bring to your attention. The major reason is because Lamestream media needs black women to, like I said, be that attack dog when it comes to us. They are only really going to go after someone if it's a black person attached. Whether it's a black person against another black person, such as with the Chris Brown incident, or say if this is back in the day like Ike and Tina. If it's a black person, especially against a white person, they definitely going to attach themselves to that. And that's where Nate Parker comes in, because the so-called victim was a white woman or a white girl at the time. And so on and so forth. The media has a way of playing their mind games on people, but I think they really know how to get black women hook, line, and sinker. Not every black woman will fall for it, but too many do. That's why I call them Lamestream for a reason. You have to see through their tricks. They know how to get people. And we as black people got to be smarter than them. We got to, when they move 2 steps, we got to move about 10 steps ahead of them, just to make sure that whatever they put out there doesn't corrupt our mind. Because that's exactly what they go for. Like I've always said, mental slavery will always be more powerful than physical. Physical you can heal from, like as far as your wounds go. But that mental, that's hard for a lot of people to get away from. Look at the state that a lot of black people are in today. It's a reason why chattel slavery's been over for all these years, but we still are mentally not off the plantation, if you get my drift. But that's really all I had to say about this. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. The links will be in the description. I will talk to you in the next one.
Apparently, I thought I was done with the video, but everyone keeps asking me under every video that I post, can I talk about Chris Brown being arrested from the rape allegations? Now, in the beginning of the video, I talked about the rape, and now I have to talk about him being arrested. And I figure I put it into this video instead of making a whole separate video about it, because it's not going to take me that long, because based on what I've heard, he was arrested, he bailed out on a $2,000 bond, and I keep hearing conflicting reports saying that the girl was raped, but it wasn't by Chris Brown. And it's like it's an incomplete story, so this is really all I have to go off right now. So any other updates that will come past the one I'm just giving you right now at the end of this video will come in a separate commentary. Do I believe that Chris Brown raped this chick? No. Especially after what I told you about him just getting his master's. He just got his master's, his publishing, and is the youngest artist in history to do so. And that's crazy to believe because Chris Brown is 29 like me. As a matter of fact, his birthday is the day after mine, so we practically turned 30 around at the same time. And now this pops up. Like, this is not a coincidence. I don't know what is. Like, I'm not seeing how people are not seeing this for what it is. And I had made a post on Twitter. Let me go ahead and read to you what I said. Let me see if I can pull it up right now. I said, I'm looking at the comments involving Chris Brown and his arrest. Mind you, these are accusations, but it's amazing that people use his past to automatically sentence him in the court of public opinion. Good thing y'all aren't attorneys or judges. We have enough of their crooked asses in the establishment only to have you law degreeless fools try to put your gaggle brain dead cranium together and form a shaky case. And I meant just that. Because if I had to rely on on the court of public opinion when it comes to stuff like this, I would probably, and I was in Chris Brown's predicament or anyone else's predicament, I would probably be in jail right now. As a matter of fact, there are some people who are in jail right now because of that. Bill Cosby being one of them. So for right now, this is all I have to go off of when it comes to this particular incident with Chris Brown. Like I said, if anything comes up, that'll be in a separate commentary.